Hear Our Voice. This is a report based on the stories and experience of 5 Zambrano families in the West Midlands. Their identities have been made anonymous, but their voices are real. Who are Zambrano carers, and why is it important to be aware of their plight? To date, there is little consistent data about the numbers of Zambrano families supported in the West Midlands by local authorities. Anecdotal evidence from Zambrano carers and advice agencies suggests that many such families are turned away routinely and refused the support to which they are legally entitled. This is also complicated by London Borough Council's dispersing families without any communication or consultation with local authorities within the region. Whatever the numbers, their experience highlights the unfair treatment and hardship they face because of a system of support and decision-making that impacts adversely on children who are UK citizens and consigns them to a third-class childhood. These families are single mothers, typically who are non-UK citizens, and are the primary carers of British citizen children. The children generally derive their British citizenship from absentee British citizen fathers. Based on a European Union Court of Justice ruling in 2011 on the case of Zambrano, it gave the right for such families to reside if they were the primary carer of a British citizen who is residing in the UK and able to demonstrate that their British citizen children would be unable to reside in the UK or another European state if the primary carer was required to leave. This has provided some protection to Zambrano carers, who have frequently entered the UK lawfully on short-term visas, but their personal family circumstances have changed due to becoming estranged from their husband. Or they may have been denied permission to remain in the UK as an asylum seeker, or are awaiting a decision on an application, or appealing a refusal made by the Home Office. For many of the families, they have been in the UK for several years already and made a life for themselves.
I'm a young woman from Gambia, which is in West Africa. I came here back in 2008 to study as a student, and I have a degree in business management. That was 2012. Immediately I graduated, I had a job. I was working as an office administrator, which paid well and all.
There can be various reasons why their family circumstances have changed, illustrated here.
Happily married. Things were going on fine. After I had my baby, things started falling apart with my husband, and just came one day from my friend's house after I had the baby, because I had cesarean, so I had to be with someone to help me. So when I came back home after 2 weeks, I found that the locks were changed by the father of my daughter.
Since their family circumstances have changed, the primary carer looks to regularise their immigration status with the Home Office, as their children are UK citizens and have a right to reside in the UK. The Home Office, however, is frequently reluctant officially to recognise the right of residence, taking the view that the fact that an absentee father is unwilling to meet his child's care needs does not make him unable to meet such needs, leading to the argument that the non-UK citizen might reasonably be expected to leave the UK without breaching the child's rights as a British citizen. This, in effect, leaves Zambrano families in a form of legal limbo unless and until they are able to apply to the Home Office for leave to remain. Changes and cuts to legal aid in 2013 means that Zambrano carers are not able to use public funds to cover the costs of legal representation for regularising their immigration status or challenge their access to state support. The cost of applying for leave to remain in the UK is expensive when you have little disposable income.
When I met the solicitor at first, I had to pay him. I still have a bill that is sky high. He keeps asking for his money, and without his money he's not willing to go any further. He's literally over £1,000.
The cost of applying for leave to remain in the UK is a fee of £649 plus a health surcharge of £500 per individual, a total of £1,149. While these can be waived by the Home Office if a family is destitute, in a lot of cases, legal action has to be threatened before it is granted. Zambrano families can find it difficult to know who they should contact to find out about their rights and get support.
I was sent to Women's Aid, who at first said they couldn't help me, but they did point me in the direction of social services. Which at first, hearing social services, I was nervous, thinking the stigma around social services is removing children from their homes with their parents. So I was thinking, no, I don't want their help. I'll find another way. But it became more and more difficult, so I had no choice. So I rang up my worker at Women's Aid and said, fine, go ahead. Let them know we need help.
Zambrano families have a right to reside in the UK, are not subject to immigration control, but are not considered as ordinarily resident. In these circumstances, they are not entitled to any state welfare or housing support that UK families would be entitled to. However, under Section 17 of the Children's Act 1989, they are entitled to access basic accommodation and subsistence support with a right to be able to work. The quality of accommodation provided can vary from each local authority. Many Zambrano families, though, are housed in bed and breakfast or hotel accommodation. While statutory guidance suggests that children in families eligible for housing under the 1996 Housing Act should not be accommodated in bed and breakfast accommodation for a period of longer than 6 weeks, evidence from Zambrano families suggests that many are housed in such accommodation for months or even years.
I'm still at a B&B. It's November and it will be a year.
Zambrano families' experience of local authority social services support can be difficult, inconsistent and unclear.
I went to the local authority. They put me up for around some months. I had an application in the Home Office, but to them it seems like it wasn't going to be successful, so they got the police and they arrested me and threw me and my son outside in the cold on the street. I literally had to take the local authority to court because they wouldn't offer any support.
Some families experience an attitude of hostility and disbelief. One Zambrano carer was asked the question by her social worker.
Her question to me was, how the heck did you find yourself in this kind of position? What did you do to put yourself in this position?
As well as some families experiencing a lack of clear policies and procedures on which social workers are making decisions.
I was promised that I was going to get the child in need plan and also I was going to get a new walker. To my surprise, what the manager of that service did was just to print out things from the internet, which when I received it, I wasn't aware of it because I was reading it and I saw that my advocate was also written down. And then I went to him. I said, "Oh, I saw that you've been written on the children's services thing." But when I gave it to him, he said to me, "No, this is not their policy. It's just like a report, an annual report that they do."
Case law suggests that support provided to Zambrano families should be paid out at a level similar to that provided to asylum seekers under Home Office asylum support arrangements. That is to say, £36 per week per person or £108 per week for a mother with 2 dependent children. Free school meals can be requested at the school's discretion. The combination of poor quality accommodation over long periods of time and minimum subsistence support can have a detrimental impact on a child's development and well-being.
As my son would say, "Mum, this is prison." My son is 6 years old and he said, "Mum, this is hell. We can't even go outside and play."
With the money social services was giving me plus the child benefit, it's either feed the kids or go to school. If I have to choose, I'm choosing making sure my kids are fed. My son, he's usually bubbly, doesn't want you to lead. He's very independent. Being there, he was withdrawn, clingy. Just to go into the toilet, he freaks out, like, I can't leave. My daughter, normally chatty and happy, also withdrawn, unhappy, drawing a lot of pictures and writing stories. And when I would read the stories that she would write, she referred to the hotel that we were staying at as Bearwood Court Prison.
The current system treats these children, who are UK citizens, unfairly and creates hardship for these same children that the system is there to keep safe and protect. Many Zambrano families are grateful for the support they do get, however, and in our interviews offered their thoughts on how the current support could be improved in a way that does not resign their children to a third-class childhood.
Please look at the places you're sending these families to. You take yourself there personally and see if you think it's suitable for young children.
Children's services should look for places where kids can play so that they will not be asked to stop. We adults, we can sit in one place, but children can't.
I think as far as communicating with us, they could communicate with us better. Because I felt like social services treated me personally. I think they treated me like a criminal. Like I've done something wrong in asking you to help me make better for my kids and myself.
Addressing some of the inadequacies in current policy and practice could save time and longer-term costs to social services, but also ensure that the safety and protection of children who are UK citizens are at the heart of their approach. This is part of an action research project hosted by the Workers' Educational Association, West Midlands, in partnership with Asylum Support and Immigration Resource Team, Birmingham, funded by Barrow Cadbury Trust. We would like to thank the 5 families for sharing their stories and Boiler House Media for recording and editing the production. To listen in full to each of the Zambrano families' recording, please contact Howard Croft, WEA, West Midlands office, 0121 237 8120. To find out more about the plight of Zambrano carers and those who have no resource to public funds, go to www.nrpfnetwork.org.uk.